Good morning and welcome to the channel. In today's episode, I am in the garden. It's early morning, it's crisp, it's windy, it's the perfect time to do a little harvesting, and I thought, you know what, before I harvest, let me give you guys a tour of the garden. So if you'd like to see what I have growing, because it's different for me every year, stay tuned. This is my 17-gallon container garden right here behind the privacy fence. And in this container, I had some pigeon peas from last year. I don't see any signs of them, but I did plant some bush beans. I can't remember which bush beans I planted, but I do have some bush beans in here that are coming up. They finally decided to show their faces, these jerks. It has been taking so long for my beans to germinate that I didn't think they would. I also have I think some turmeric might be in here. I planted some marigolds in here. And this big bubba right here is a white trumpet flower, a datura white trumpet flower that's coming back from last year. It's actually in the ground. Let me go on the other side and show you that it is beginning to flower. Let's see, can you guys see that flower head right there? Let's see if I can point it out to you. Right here is a flower head. I have a few of them. I've actually cut on this plant, I want to say 3 times, and I've given some of it away to other people because this plant can get a good 5.5, 6 feet tall. It can get really tall and it can get just as wide. Let's see. It looks like, yep, there's another seed head right there. Right there. So it's flower head, I'm sorry. It's beginning to put on flowers. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant, so I'm excited to see it. In the grass here, I have my morning glories growing on this side as well as the opposite side of the 17-gallon container garden. In this container, I have blue Adirondack potatoes. They are sprawling everywhere. Can you see how massive that is? I did put some celery in there. I don't think it actually grew. I'll see what's underneath this foliage once I cut it back when it's time to do so. I have noticed that it has been flowering. I am not quite certain. I've read 2 opposing opinions regarding the flowers. Take them off, leave them on. So I took mine off. I'm hoping that's not going to be too detrimental to my plant because like I said, I've read 2 opposing views on it. So I did take them off. I also have some peas growing up the side here. I did plant peas along the side all the way around, excuse my shadow, but the peas on this side did not grow. These are the Oregon, let me see, I have a tag down there somewhere. The Oregon sugar pod and the Early Perfection. These are the Oregon sugar pod. They grew and they're growing nicely, but the Early Perfection, no signs of them at all. They just kind of decided they were not going to grow. So yeah, maybe the potatoes took over. But that's my pot of container. I planted some sweet potatoes. I have a mixture of sweet potatoes. I have the purple skin, purple flesh, purple skin, white flesh, tan skin and tan flesh potatoes. I don't know which one these are, but I have a half a 17-gallon right now. As you can see, I have covered the front half with a piece of cardboard and a container. I will be planting some more sweet potatoes in here, but for right now, this is all I have. I'm waiting for my other slips to mature. This 17-gallon container consists of a 4 seasons lettuce. I'm going to have to harvest that today, as well as my asparagus. Look at that beautiful baby right there. This is my first time growing asparagus. These are crowns as well as seeds. Right here that I'm holding back, that's the crown. But if you look right here, those are the seeds that I put in last year. So I'm excited to see that I have asparagus in this container. This container, I have a couple of leeks. I used to have some onions, but I dug them out and put them in other areas of the garden. I also found some tomatoes that began to grow from some tomatoes that I dropped in some containers last year. So when I saw them growing, I dug them out and put them over here. I have about 2 of them. I also, maybe 3. I also transplanted some beets in here. It looks like most of the beets did not survive, but that's okay. I've got some stuff growing, so we shall eat, y'all. We shall eat. This is a second container of blue Adirondack potatoes. I also put some celery in here, and I saw some growth. I don't know if you guys can see those little bitty babies down there. I think that could be celery. I don't know. I'm leaving it alone. I have to learn to leave things alone, so that's what I'm trying to do. But this is another container of potatoes, and I also planted some blue pea. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember. My brain is going. My brain is leaving me right now. My mind. I've got some blue pea growing down there. Sugar pea. I can't remember. But I have to put it in the description box below. But I do have another butterfly pea. Ooh, help me. I have a blue butterfly pea that I planted in the back there, and I think I do see a little baby that's covered up by the potato. So I'm going to leave that alone and see if it will come up and trellis. But that's my second container of potatoes. Now the sun is bright, so it's really hard for me to give you guys a really good view of the container garden on this side of the yard, but I did put up some cattle panels, and I'm really excited about growing up on these cattle panels, as well as using them in the wintertime to make a greenhouse structure. So let me show you all what's growing over here. In this container, I had a purple trumpet flower that is not coming back. I'm so disappointed. I don't even have any more seeds for this, so I'm not feeling really good about it. But I did put some seeds, marigold seeds in here. As you can see, I've got some marigolds popping up. These are lamb's ears. They feel so nice, you guys. I absolutely love this plant. I will have to take some of the older leaves off that's dying, but this is lamb's ear. Right here, I have, again, some more marigold that I grew from seed, as well as some lemongrass. It does look dead, but I did check. It is putting on roots, so I'm just going to leave it alone. It's a chimenea that I got for 20 bucks because it was broken, and I thought it was a beautiful piece to put in the garden. And look, y'all, isn't that pretty? I think it's pretty. I'm using it as a planter. And so in here I have what I think is a Texas Star Hibiscus. I want to thank Lady Cheryl for sending me those seeds last year, I think it was. And so I have a Texas Star Hibiscus that came back from last year. And I have some nasturtium seeds that I grew this year. I planted some nasturtium seeds. So that's what's growing in front of it. I think in a previous video I said this was dill. This is not dill. This is actually fennel. And it is beginning to go to seed, so I'm excited to see that. I'm going to let that go to seed so I can harvest me some seeds and have me some more fennel. This container is what brought me outside. This container consists of lots and lots of onions, as well as this massive Russian kale that I'm going to be harvesting here pretty soon. And I think this is Mizuna, but do not hold me to it. It's beginning to go to seed, and I'm going to let it so that I can have some seeds for that. But I've got tons and tons of onions in here, and I have 2 Russian kale plants, and I'm going to harvest as much as I can and leave the rest for it to continue to grow back for me. This is my jasmine flower plant. It is already flowered this year. It's got beautiful white flowers with a light pink neck. So this is nothing more than just green foliage for the rest of the year. This used to be my strawberry container, but some of my fruits have just not done well and my strawberries died. So what I did was I placed a few onions in here, which those don't look like they survived, but these are borage plants. I seeded some borage in here. So at least I will have some beautiful borage to bring in the pollinators, as well as to be able to utilize the flower the flower petals. Sorry y'all, I lost my train of thought. I'll be able to utilize the flower petals on that. In this container, I have a red mustard green plant that has gone to seed. I will be harvesting these seeds, but for right now, I'm letting them fully mature until I can do that. I also have a Russian kale in here. I want to say I have 2 plants in here as well, and I have underplanted it with onions, and as you can see, I've got some death I've got to pull out. It is the day to go ahead and take that stuff out of here, so I'll be taking those things out, pulling out any weeds. And over in the corner here, let me show you all. I think this is a turnip. Let me get down close so that you guys can see that bulb down there. It has a purple top, but that I believe is a 7 purple top turnip or something like that. But yeah, I thought I harvested all of the turnips, and this one has gone to seed, so I'm going to let it. It's leaning over into, oh, I think I might have snapped a piece off, but that's okay. I'll take all those I was gonna say dirty leaves, all those old mangled leaves. I'll take those leaves off. As you can see, this leaf broke, and I will take those off, but I'm gonna let this flower and go to seed and collect seeds from that. In this container, I have beets, I have garlic, I have another 2 small Russian sage plants. I used to have rutabagas, but I went ahead and harvested those already and ate them. They were delicious. I also have, I think that's a Johnny Jump Up. You can also eat the petals off of that. Aren't they beautiful, guys? I love this little plant. I've got it in a couple places in the garden. I grew that from seed. Everything except for the garlic, I grew myself from seed. In this container, I have, I think this is Paris Island. I had to think about it for a second, y'all. I think this is Paris Island lettuce, and I think it has now gone over. It is bitter. I have to double check. Under here, I think I might have some returning Malabar spinach. Hope you guys can see that. I've got some little chopping up back there. Can you guys see that? But that's what this is, and I'll be having salad for lunch today, so I will be taking some salad greens out of the garden. For the life of me, I can't remember what this is. I know it's a green, but I don't remember which kind, and I misplaced the plant tag. But I also have garlic in the base in there, and so it has gone to seed, and I am letting it. This, I believe, is Premier Kale. It is looking amazing, but it doesn't like the heat, so I will be taking those today. I'll be harvesting as much leaves as I can. And also up under there, I have some garlic chives growing. And on the back side, let me show you what's back there. I found Kentucky pole beans growing in the grass. They must have fallen down from when I harvested them last year, and I dug them out. And so now I have a free food that I did not plant. I have Kentucky pole beans, which is why I have this huge pole in the pot. This is my trellis garden, and I'm so excited how things are turning out this year. I have a row of peppers, and you all saw in the previous video me potting up these peppers. I can't talk today, but you know what? I am not going to change that. These bloopers are going to stay in this video, y'all. But these are my peppers. They're beginning to grow and put on some growth, and I'm excited. I have Serrano peppers in here, 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 and here. I also have a squash of some kind, which I did not plant. I think what happened is when I used some reclaimed soil from some seed cups, I had a squash seed that was playing possum, and so now I've got some kind of squash in there. I have companion planted all of these with either an onion or a garlic because I'm trying to make sure that I am keeping my pest control down to a minimum if at all possible. This is a mystery pepper to me. It was supposed to be a store-bought red bell pepper, but last year when I grew it, it was hot, so I'm growing it again. These two are purple bell peppers that I purchased this year, and looks like something is trying to eat on this one, so I need to investigate and find out what's going on because I cannot have any interlopers up in here trying to eat my food. it is growing taller than this one. And what I have been doing is, since they're so tiny, when I see little flowers like that, I pluck them off because I'm not ready for this to flower and make fruit. I need for it to put on growth. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to do that right there. Just like that. This is my Meyer Lemon. I used to have a larger one, but it passed away on me due to the Armageddon, the Snowmageddon that we had. And so I purchased this one last year. As you can see, it is flowering. It does flower. It does put on a little bit of fruit, but it drops, and I'm okay with that because it is too little, in my opinion, to try to give me fruit. I have underplanted that with my peanuts. This container I want to take out of the garden. I'm not really crazy about this gifted grow bag. It just doesn't seem to grow my food as large as I would like it to. This is garlic. I had kohlrabi in here, but the kohlrabi died, so I need to take this bag and put all the soil and its contents in that bucket down there and take this bag out of the garden because I don't want to grow in this bag. I'm not happy with the results of it. Now, this is my Dinosaur Kale. This used to be in a grow bag, and if you saw that video that I put out, go back and take a look at it. This Dinosaur Kale used to be tiny, and now it is really putting on a lot of growth. I'm really pleased with the results that I have because it was in a bag and it was really small, and now it is getting really big. I can see a few holes in the leaves, so I need to do a little bit of investigation because, again, I do not want anything in here eating my food because this bag, I'm going to do the same thing as the other bag. It consists of leeks and garlic. You can probably see, hang on, let me get you a closer view. I hope you can see the baby leeks. They look like grass, but those are leeks in there, as well as garlic. I want to take this bag out of the garden as well and place its contents in the pot down there. In that bag, I have this huge whiskey barrel, and I have a mishmash of things growing in here because I just wanted to see what would happen if I put it all in here. I've got several different types of okra. I have a couple different types of summer as well as winter squash. I've got some millet in here, and I also have some corn in here. So I want to see if this container can sustain all of this growth. And I also have a couple of beans growing up because I tried to put some beans in here to give this plant some nitrogen, but those jokers, they decided they didn't want to show up. Now all of a sudden I've got one little bean, and I put more than one in here. It looks like I have a new baby growing. I want to release him so he doesn't get strangled out. But yes, this container consists of a lot, and I want to have my winter squash back here growing up on the canal panel. This is a bitter melon, and it is beginning to grow up, so I'm excited about that. I've been trying to train it to grow up. But yeah, I've got okra around the front as well as some bush squash, patty pan squash, so we'll see how that goes. This container are my double gold raspberries. I just fed them with some nitrogen rich fertilizer yesterday because they're looking a little bit yellow and I don't like it. Now I have something growing in here that I don't know what that is. It could be something that I dumped, like in this pot over here, how this squash got in here. I put a pot that I was trying to grow something in that died, and it could be something that is growing. I don't know what it is. We'll see. I know it's not a raspberry. That I hope you guys can see, but that doesn't seem to be a raspberry, so we'll see what it is. I've got like 2 things in here that looks like that. So, but other than that, that's my raspberry. In this huge container over here, I have some small pots in the front that consist of what's that? That is society garlic. My brain just went whoop. I've got a couple small society garlics. I have some calendula growing in that container right there. This big specimen that's continuing to reach up really tall, it goes all the way down to the bottom down there. This is marshmallow, and these leaves feel amazing. They are so nice and soft. I love the way marshmallow leaves feel. But that's my marshmallow. This massive thing here, this is my horseradish. Oh, I had to think about it for a second, y'all. This is my horseradish. I do have some burdock root coming up on this side, but it's still a baby. Hope you guys can see. Can you see that? That's my burdock right there. I'm gonna cover it up so the sun doesn't get to it. It died, so I had to reseed it. I also have, let's see if I can see it, move some leaves. There we go. Can you see that right there? That is a comfrey plant right there. And so I've got comfrey that I put in here. So there's going to be a lot going on over here. Now this container I'm going to be pulling out in just a little while, and I'm going to do a separate video on that. But it has a common chive in it as well as a marigold. I am going to be potting up a pepper that I was given yesterday. So excited to see that. Come back for that video. Now in this container, let's move that leaf. You can see it better now. It also has a marigold, and I grew that marigold from seed. This is my Shasta Daisy. I grew that from seed. It has a visitor, and I have no idea what this is, so I'm gonna have to dig that out, because that to me is a weed. I didn't plant it, and I'm not quite sure what it is, so it's gotta go bye-bye. This is a Texas Star Hibiscus. Again, Lady Cheryl sent me these seeds a few years ago, and I'm so excited. This is coming back from last year. I underplanted it with some nasturtiums, and I used to have a red Clemson clover in here. I can't talk today, y'all. Red Clemson clover, and it has gone to seed, so I need to harvest these seeds. They're still wet. Hope you guys can see they're wet, so I can't harvest them right now. But those are red crimson clover seeds, and I'm going to cut that back. It did come back from last year, but I'm going to take those seeds and spread those around in the garden, because that's a really pretty plant. This container has a few things in it. It has some alliums that's hiding. It has some gladiolus that's coming up at the top. This little baby right here, this is a white trumpet flower that I dug out from the other side of the garden. I also have a little yellow trumpet flower in there that I dug out from my mom's garden. It's laying down really sad right now. I'm hoping it's going to prop itself up and live its best life. We shall see. I also have a at least I did have, I'm trying to find it, I had a little clematis in here that looks like the little clematis. We'll see if that kind of perks up and shows me that it wants to live. Let's see. And I also had a Chinese lantern in here, and I don't see it. Maybe this is the Chinese lantern. I don't know. We'll see. But I got a few little things in there that are looking worse for the wear, but I'm going to leave it alone. I'm trying to learn to leave things alone, and so I'm going to leave it alone. This little raggedy container has been in the garden for a couple of years, and when I moved it, it just tore all to pieces. So I'm ready to throw it out, but I planted some bee balm seeds in here, and I think that might be what these two little babies are. If this does not grow bee balm, and if it doesn't grow anything besides a weed, I'm going to reclaim this soil and throw this pot away, because I don't like looking at it. Excuse all of my drip lines everywhere, but this is society garlic that came back from last year, and I did plant another white trumpet flower in the ground right there. Again, it's looking real sad and droopy, but it's not dead, so I'm gonna let it be. And also next to that is some morning glory, so I'm gonna let it container. This is a 17-gallon container. It is a whiskey barrel. Look at that, y'all. Isn't it pretty? Again, excuse my drip wires everywhere, but I have a volunteer squash. I don't know what that is. I think I put some red kiri seeds in this pot last year, and apparently it decided it wanted to grow this year, but I did not plant that this year, but that's okay. It's free food. The rest of these are Cape Cod gooseberries. I did plant Cape Cod gooseberries in here. I did allow this to reseed from last year as well. My blackberry that I got from the Bull's Garden, as you can see, it is dead. It did not come back. That's okay. I'll have to acquire another one. I have a grapevine that's growing. It's doing well. It's tiny, but I know it's putting on some growth. I can tell it's putting on roots, so I'm all right with it looking small. Before the summer ends, it'll be tall. It'll be taller than I am. So that, everyone, is my garden, and I know that looks like a mess right there, but that is another broken chiminea that I got for $20, and I had to put a bag on top because we were getting some really bad windstorms, thunderstorms, rain, tornado warning, and I have some wood in there, and I didn't want rain to get inside and wet the wood up because I want to use that for ash for the garden. But yes, that's a chimenea right there. And so this, everyone, is my spring garden. Oh, wait, I have one more area to show you.